All right, talking with Vince Bruun, the media director here at Emerald Downs, also the morning line maker as well. And Vince, let's start there. The morning line is going to be a little bit different. They're trying to bring some consistency to the odds, right?
Well, yeah, right. The goal is to have it more accurate late in the wagering, so we don't see these people are prepared if there's going to be a drop down. Let's say a horse goes off at 9-2, is loading, and then wins it at 5-2, and a lot of people are disgruntled. Instead of $11, they're looking at $7.60 or something. Well, a lot of times we can anticipate that because the will pays and the doubles or pick threes or pick fours show pretty much are in line with how the final odds are going to be. So if a horse is a big favorite in the will pays in the double and is say 5-1 on the line, I can adjust that after seeing the will pays and prepare people for the drop down that's going to happen. So that's why we call it dynamic. It's going to be fluid. It's going to be changing. So those who do look at will pays on their iPhones or on their computers or whatever have kind of gotten in step with that. And here it's important because we do get a lot of late money on the last couple of clicks, because maybe our pools aren't quite as big as some of the eastern tracks or something.
And so there's a bigger impact on the odds at that point.
So the goal will be to, it won't be perfect, but it should alleviate the real radical changes we've seen.
Give you a better idea of what the actual end price is going to be. And
exactly.
And with that, and as you mentioned, so we're going to the program's still going to have your original morning line.
Correct.
And then so after the first race, you'll be able to take a look at the second race daily double odds, and if there's one that is got hammered, you can then change that.
Yeah, so we will still have the regular morning line, but then after each race goes official, hopefully within 2 to 5 minutes after that is official, if you follow the inter-track thing, you will see it on your TV monitors, or if you're at the track on the big screen, etc. And we'll try to make it out there so you can see it.
And you actually get those numbers prior to the race being. I mean, you have the will pays potential anyway. You can start as odds. You can already start seeing if there's a real trend somewhere.
You can, and then certainly once it goes official, the stuff is out there pretty fast now. And with usually like 26 minutes between races on an average, certainly by about 17 or 18 minutes to post, we should have an updated line for everybody.
Do you anticipate that there'll be a lot of changes in the morning line, or is this going to be what you think maybe changing 2, 3, 4 horses depending on field size?
Yeah, right. I don't think you'll see, if a horse is 20-1 on the morning line, you usually won't going to see a big change on that. It's mainly, I'd say the horses that are your top 3 or 4 picks. Because as line makers, a lot of times I'll get that wrong.
Yeah.
And the horse I'll have at 5-2, sometimes may go off at 5-1, or the reverse is true. And I can usually tell right away, once I see the will pays, I might have messed up here a little bit. But now, we can use the hindsight via will pays to adjust and prepare the player for what's happening. So.
And even though it says, 5-1 on the board or whatever, you're able to say, no, this is really a 5-2 shot.
Correct. Yeah, that's the exact idea, Paul, that we'll be able to say that, don't get too excited about this 5-1 because it's not going to last. But the reverse could also be true.
Right.
The will pays might show that a horse that's 5-2 is not getting that much action in the doubles and the pick threes and might be moved up to 9-2, 5-1.
No matter what, though, once the race goes off, the final numbers are going to come up, and there's still a chance that there could be a lot of money come in on a horse late that you just can't foresee. So this is This is an attempt to try and get it as close as possible.
Right.
It's not a perfect science.
It's not going to be perfect, and it's going to be a work in progress. But yeah, the idea is the more good information we can get to the player, the better. And it's up to the player if each tools they want to use. We all handicap a little different, but it's just another thing that's really come into focus the last few years. We've really seen it with the some of the computer wagering and all that there's wild fluctuations late, and this will just prepare us all for if that's going to happen, that it's not just dropped on us out of the blue.
Right, exactly. Now, the other big thing as far as betting goes is the breakage, and for some folks like myself, I do play across the board bets and things like that. I do play, even if you're just playing $2 wins. You're used to seeing $10, $10.20, $10.40, $10.60. Then all of a sudden in Kentucky, you're seeing $9.48 and $3.36, and they're actually paying this off. And Emerald Downs is going to go to that system, and this is literally putting more money back into the players' hands.
It is, and we will be the second state behind Kentucky to eliminate the penny breakage. So in other words, let's the one you just say, a horse that pays $4.59 to show, well, that would have been rounded down to the nearest 20 cents. Is it 20, 40, 60, 80, a dollar? So it would have, instead of $4.59, it would have paid $4.40. And as the player, you'd be taking the worst of it there.
Yeah.
Now you'll get the full $4.59. So it's money that the player deserves to get. I mean, that's the money that's actually there after the takeout. So.
And the reason that you can do this, you're not going to be adding a lot of nickels and dimes to the tellers. I mean, there may be a little bit more, but because of vouchers, because of self-automated machines and betting online.
Yeah. And we have had the pennies come into play here with superfectas and all that before. And as you play, a lot of people do play with vouchers now, and it'll just, you'll have funny looking numbers maybe you wouldn't have had in the past. But that's all good. And you mentioned, if you make a show bet, if you're a show player or place player, this is going to add up in the long run.
Yeah, it really is.
There's like you mentioned a horse that pays $10.48 to win. You'll get the $10.48. Before, you'd have gotten $10.40. Well, if you do that a bunch of times, that's real money.
Well, even if you're a favorite player, just think about a $2.39 payoff would have been $2.20.
Exactly.
And now $2.39, that's a big difference.
Well, and some of your show players, what if you have $100 to show?
Exactly.
Nickel here, nickel there, pretty soon you're talking real money, as Dad used to say. So.
Any other big changes from the betting aspect coming into the season? What else can we expect?
We're going to have a pick six with an 8% takeout.
Oh, okay.
So
minimum 20 cents still, or?
I'm not sure on the minimum on that. I think so. I will get that to you. But 8% is among the lowest in the country for that. And my hope here is that we get a couple carryovers, and that's when the pick six gets exciting. And with 8% takeout, and then you get a carryover too into it, it's the rare instance where you're betting into a positive cash expectancy return. Which is unusual. So it gets exciting when you have a carryover and everyone's putting a ticket together here, forming little syndicates and all that, and just makes it more exciting. Also, I believe our pentafecta is also 8%. So.
I think I read that as well. So a little less takeout or a lot less takeout on those, and the other bets remaining. What continues? It looks to me that the still, you go old school. The win pool is still the most bet, and then for exotics, it's still the exacta, isn't it?
That is correct, yeah. And those are tried and true methods going way back. And as a win better myself, I do appreciate that. I much prefer trying to figure out who's going to win the race than who's going to run third or fourth. But others will. When you see a superfecta, pay $600 or $700, boy, that looks. You don't have to sweat out a couple more races. You get it right there, and it can be pretty enticing too. But to each his own. I prefer win bets, doubles, and pick threes myself. So, but everyone else has a different idea. But those are the tried and true ones.
I'm a superfecta player, and I love that all button for third and fourth place, man.
That's right. And the last thing I would ever tell anyone to do is box in one of those situations, because a horse can clunk up for third and fourth with the right race shape where it was never going to win, and that's my opinion on a lot of that.
And no matter where you're betting, and I would say this one thing: if you're betting superfecta here at Emerald Downs, Jose Zunino always have in your third and fourth spot I don't know. He's had to bring in the highest prices for the last 3 or 4 years to hit the board, even in that fourth place spot. That really changes
Yeah.
your payoff on those, and those can add up quite a bit. So I mean,
Yeah.
you find some of those guys that come in and are just consistent and work, and they don't give up on their fourth place finish. They want to get in there and.
Well, and I know, Paul, you follow the jockeys as close as anybody here at Emerald Downs, and what you're saying with Jose makes sense, because he does ride a little more off the pace than some of our other guys, so it makes sense that he has some horse down the lane that is going to be finishing.
Yep.
You know, if not winning, at least, you know, getting part of the ticket there on your super. So, and he does ride some big prices. So,
Yep.
as you know, you get one of those 20 or 30 to ones in one of those third
Yep.
or second slots, and now you're talking
Yep.
payoff times.
Yep, exactly. Those are where you get those big ones in there, especially if you can beat the favorite on top. You know,
Yeah.
even with the second or third favorite, and even if looking around at some of these like Oaklawn and Turfway Park and some of those. You get these 6-5, 4-5 shots that even win, and the bigger fields, and there's still some really good payoffs
There
on
sure
those.
are, yeah. Turfway, you know, this following that a bit this winter, they have exceptionally big fields.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
my only problem with them is it's the synthetic, which I struggle with in my handicapping. I haven't quite figured it out, but certainly, if you just look at the payoffs from there every day,
Yeah.
there's a lot of races where there's big money.
There's a chance. So those who like just to play favorite numbers, you got a chance at hitting some good stuff. And we hope that there's going to be some. Well, we won't hope. We know there'll be some big chances here this summer as well.
You bet there will be. Looking forward to it, and we're a little over a month out, so it should be an exciting year.
We're